Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Today, we will be talking about how to view audit logs on TagoIO. If you don't know me, my name is Marcelo. I am TagoIO content editor, and with me today, I have Philip, one of our developers, and Klaus, one of our lead developers, right? So before we start, please feel free to present yourself on our chat. And if you have any questions, we have just opened our Q&A that is located above the chat. Right at the end of the presentation, we will answer all your questions on our Q&A moment. And a quick reminder, we are constantly having webinars, right? So if you don't want to miss any of them, please visit our events page. There you can see our future webinars and also our older ones, correct? And if you don't want to miss any of our webinars and actually the news on IoT and TagoIO, you can subscribe to our newsletter, right? So without further ado, please, Klaus.
Hi everyone, I'm Klaus. I'm very excited to be here today talking about the audit log feature and giving a quick overview before Felipe starts the presentation and the demonstration with a real practical use case and some more specifics on how to use the audit log itself. So, when developing your application using TagoIO, there are a lot of decisions to be made regarding how you present your data, how the user interacts with it in your dashboards and such. However, an important part that we cannot overlook when building a robust application is the ability to keep track of the activities and changes that are made in the application and its resources, and how to leverage this knowledge to identify activities and assess their impact. We have a few key concepts to keep in mind as we go along through the overview and as we head into the demonstration. The resources are devices, files, actions, analysis, run users, and even the Tago Run portal itself. Event initiators are users with access to the profile that can make changes to the resources and interact with the resources. And even the TagoIO system itself can be responsible for some activities. Events are these activities that I'm talking about, which are activities such as creating, updating, deleting resources, and much more. The audit log collects these activities and tracks the events performed by different event initiators over a period of time and stores them in chronological order. So let's take a quick look at an example. Here on the screen, we can see that the user Felipe is responsible for initiating some events. Some of these events are related to creating dashboards, and I can see that he's creating two different dashboards in the top of the screenshots. And he's also creating two different devices and making some changes to one of these devices. I'm saying that there are two different dashboards, and I'm saying that there are two different devices in the screenshots, which may not be clear to everyone, but don't worry, because once this presentation is over, you'll be confident that you can look at this and identify that there are two different resources. And I'm just as a heads up, because Philip will be talking in further detail, but I'm talking about these are identifiers that are in the parentheses. So in this example, you can see some simple activities, and you can see that the filters on the right side of the screen are basic filters showing every single event. We can see that the event initiator is all, the resource type is all, and the other filters are empty. So moving along to our second example, we can see other events handling some different resources, such as actions. We have actions there, we have analysis, and this screenshot, we also have run users being created. So we can see that there are different resource types and different events overall. So with the audit log at your disposal, what can you do with it? You can monitor the events performed by different event initiators to track important changes to some resources. and to identify any changes that may have significant impact or in the future or may have already caused significant impact in your application. This can be very useful for debugging issues with your application in general. The ability to monitor these events is even more crucial when you're scaling up your application and you have a team of developers working on a profile that can modify your resources, can modify your dashboards, can modify your devices, and then you can keep track of who's doing what to what resource. You can look at the events over a specific time period, like I mentioned in the filters in the previous screenshot. Let's just go back to it real quick. We can filter by time period. We can filter by the event initiator. We can filter by resource type, resource IDs. We can filter by messages. We can do a lot with filter to narrow down the results and only gather the important data regards to what we're looking for. So why we can use well, what we can use this for? This can use be for tracking, for monitoring, but it can also be used for internal and external auditing, and also can be used for compliance with security standards. And now Felipe will be talking in more detail about the audit log feature and demonstrating in practice how to use it, and he'll be covering some best practices for using filters, and also a real world example. So over to you, Felipe.
Moving on to me, move to this part of the presentation. Hi everyone, my name is Felipe Oliveira. I'm also a software developer here at TagoIO. And just like Klaus has said, I'm going to lead the demo part of this presentation. So, here you can see a home page of admin. I'm logged in a profile called My Company, and the feature is located at the account menu in this item called Audit Log. If you don't find this feature, it might be related to the fact that shared profile or team profile doesn't have access to these logs. To see logs of a profile, you must own it. So let's get into it. Once we enter in a audit log, we are going to see a screen similar to that. We have the events that happen in a chronological order, just like Klaus has explained it. We have the filter in this right part, a download button, and a link to documentation. Let's take a look in this first event right here. So, Felipe Oliveira is the event initiator. We can take his ID right here. This is going to be the event message, which is update an action trigger, but could be create an access management policy, create a device, depends of which resource type this event is happening. You can also see the resource ID affected by this event. You can see when it happened. You can copy the resource ID or go to the resource page. If I click here, I'm going to see the action resource page. In the right part of this screen, I have the filter. The filter is only available for starter and scale plans. And using the filter is going to specify which events you are looking for. Also, it makes loading these events faster. The first row is the time zone. Usually it takes your account preferences. This is going to be the time range. You can specify one of these determined time ranges, or you can choose a custom date. You have the event initiator. It can be TagoIO system, yourself, or a team member. You have the resource type. It could be actions, analysis, dashboards, dictionary, and more. You can have the resource ID. You can copy and paste a resource ID. For example, if I take this event right here, copy and paste right here, to filter for events that happen in this device. But to make it easier to choose a resource ID, we can just take the resource type as device, and this input will change, so we can proper select this device. If we change for a dashboard, for example, it's going to show all the options of dashboard available. We have also the event message. So the event message is going to be the actions that happen in this resource. It could be create an action, update an action, or create an analysis, depends of the resource type. And just like the resource ID, if we change here and choose a proper resource type, the event message will show only the options related to this resource type. In this case, for dashboard, it's going to be created a dashboard, updated a dashboard, and more. Also, TagoIO lets you download a copy of these events shown right here. If I click in the download button, a new screen will pop up with the same events displayed here and with the ID. So it's not necessary to hover an ID to see an ID. Everything will be shown in text. Also, you can see a summary of the filters used to show these results. You can print it or save as PDF. Do whatever you want to. To make it easier to understand how powerful this tool is, let's imagine the following situation. Your clients started to complain that some widgets are not working in a dashboard. The first thing you might do is open this dashboard. So here we have a dashboard with temperature and humidity. We can see that some widgets are perfectly working fine, but we have some widgets that are missing data. To investigate what is happening in these widgets, we are going to edit it. So I click here and click the edit button. Once we try to edit a widget, we can notice that the field of data from is missing the device and variable. If we click to show suggestion of these devices available in this profile, we can see that some devices were deleted. So let's use the audit log to find out who has deleted these devices. The first thing we might do is choose a resource type. It would be device. Event initiator, we are going to keep it all because we don't know who has deleted these devices. We are not going to choose any device because once it is deleted, we cannot select anymore because it's not available in this profile. And we are going to choose the message as deleted a device. Let's apply these filters. Once we apply these filters, we can see that Felipe Oliveira, myself, has deleted 3 devices 4 hours ago. Since I didn't share my credentials with anyone, how could I be deleting these devices? So let's take a look in the events that happened right before of this one. So we're going to take the audit log, look for the time range, and look for events that happened right before. We can see that right before Felipe Oliveira has deleted the first device, Marcelo has updated an analysis. Let's take a look in this analysis. Once we inspect the analysis, we can see a statement to delete devices. And it's using our account, my account token. That's why the audit log is keeping logs of Felipe Oliveira deleting devices. Let's take a look in the different versions of this analysis to be sure that Marcel has put this statement. We can go here and check the version 2 before Marcel has changed it. Once we check the version 2, we can see that Marcel has put this statement to delete the device. We are going to take a copy of this log and report to your team. Thanks everyone for the attention. I'm going to move on to Marcel.
Okay, so thank you very much, Klaus and Philip. Right, it was amazing to see how you can keep track of your solution using audit logs. Right. So, guys, before we jump into the Q&A, once again, you can check our next webinars on our events page, right, and the old ones as well, right? And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. There, we will keep you up to date with the IoT World and TagoIO updates, correct? And finally, this webinar is being recorded, so if you missed any part of it, you can always go back and watch it again. Right. So let's go to the Q&A. I have some questions here right now. So the first one is, how long does TagoIO keep the log, Philip? Or Klaus?
Well, that's a great question. Uh, Actually, TagoIO keeps log from the past 6 months. So events that happen right before 6 months are going to be removed. But if you need to keep this data longer than 6 months, you could use some solutions with the TagoIO SDK and backup these logs using an action, a schedule action happen every month or every 3 months, and you can fetch these logs and store it wherever you want to.
Okay, that's very nice. And does every TagoIO account have access to the audit log?
Well, yeah, it's available for all accounts. Only the filter is limited for starter and scale plan, but mm, all accounts have access to the audit log.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. So if you guys don't have any other question, thank you all for being here. Right, for today, that was it. And we see each other on our next webinar. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.